So good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kenneth Mubea with Digital South Africa as Capacity Development Lead, and today's session is on crop phenology, vegetation phenology. We're gonna use those Sentinel-1, Sentinel-2. These are just images that we provide for the whole continent to make sure you're able to access continuous service. So just as a background, Digital South Africa program was set up 4 years ago, and the main mission was to support this service that supports everyone in the continent, policymakers, scientists, private sector, name it. And we are all empowered to cover very many items from agriculture, water resources, land degradation, urbanization, and coastal erosion. Access to this platform is quite seamlessly. We have the Digital South Africa map, and also we have the sandbox, which is just a free registration, and you're able to access Jupyter notebooks. We also have access to the same platform through your GIS software. I'll be able to show you where. This is the web map services, and then we have the free online courses. So as you can see from the website digitaloutafrica.org, we have the platform. This is where we have the Digital South Africa map, and also we have the sandbox as well. So the Digital South Africa map is quite the service for the whole continent. For example, I could actually change the background of the maps so that I can appreciate what we have in the platform. So for example, we could just zoom in around Lusaka. I know we have some kind of irrigation here. And when you just change the backgrounds, we can load the agriculture data. This is the cropland extent built by Digital South Africa and its partners in terms of validation. And here the interest is probability of cropping. So I know towards the capital, we have some farms around Chongwe, as I remember from my experience, some irrigation. At least you can see the probability of cropping. Then with this, you can also add the Sentinel-2 or Sentinel-1 images very easily. For example, we could add an image of today and see which one is available. So if you zoom into Chongwe area, we can see an image. Hopefully, we can see the areas. That's an image covered on the 3rd of May this month. Then also you can do a comparison, which is very nice for us as you're in various domains. You could like to know how the situation was maybe last year around the same month. It was a little bit of a drought as we support various drought initiatives. So as you can see, the background, you can change the vegetation index. And actually, that's what we'll be using in our sandbox platform to see the various changes. So you might notice some changes in the same because of the vegetation index, but you can still view the real image and see what was different between these two images. Some reflectance, some cropping, etc., etc. You might also want to go back to the other years. We start from 2017 on the platform. That is analysis ready data, and from advice should be the same month to get a cloud-free mosaics or cloud-free data. And with these now, you'll be able to see some changes over time, or even some schemes, either they were there or not. So you might see some changes. So I'll give you some time to load. And also this work, whatever I'm doing is very nice because then I can share the link to this, what I'm doing, so that you can actually continue or share with other colleagues and show them the work that you've done. This is very cool. And so this one, as it joined, let me see if I could get an image which was loading for that time. Sometimes you might have issues with your internet connectivity. And also looking for around June, July is our winters, but nowadays they are a little bit dry winters. Then if you're interested, you can add another layer of water just to see how the situation was every year, the water bodies around. Then South Africa recently released the So now the Sentinel will try to go to the year of 2022 because this is the annual water. That's the way you have the changes whenever it changes. So, but still in the background, you can add a Microsoft image or Bing Maps, the background, and see the water around here, see some small water bodies. Then also we developed the water bodies recently, which it's making some waves somewhere. Just captured some water bodies over 35 years, which is very key. So what I'll do, I'll just share in the chat as well the links that you might check later after we do the particular intervention today. So that is how much you can access on the Digital Africa map. Then going on the website, you can access the sandbox, which is here. And the various examples I had for today was these are the examples trying to show you crop probability from space. So the sandbox, you have free registration and you're able to use it for various sectors from agriculture, water management, natural resources, and we have different folders which are quite easy. So today I'll show you this notebook and this one, and also the anomalies, and also this one as for interest. So the crop health gives us an idea of crop health over space. So we're able to use Sentinel-2 at 10 meters from the European Space Agency. So access to sandbox is free registration, and you'll be able to go to the folder real world and actually see the particular notebook. So now I'll be able to show you the example on the crop health. This is when I'm running for a default location. So you can always change the latitude and longitude. And the beauty of this is that once it runs, you can choose a few plots to actually see what has happened over one extent to another, or the performance of one crop versus another one. You can also zoom in and zoom out. For example, I can check for a different parcel of land to see how the situation is. So as you can see, you can click finish and zoom out. You'll be able to see how it plots. Then you can also add another parcel. So you can add several just to do some comparison. And also you can change also the dates based on your knowledge, because you're the final end user or advisor. So from the crop health, which is in the real world examples, this is where it is, and you can always save it to a different location or save it with your name. This is just file and save as maybe at location, Zambia, Lusaka, etc., etc. For the phenology, this one also runs. Let me just try to give this example for Zambia. So what you do is that you can copy the extents and you can map them on your Google so that you actually know if you can get these lat long figures. Then for the crop health, what I'll do, I'll just put the same example and load the same. So as you can see, I have the latitude and I have the longitude. Then also you might change the dates, for example. Then after that, you go to the kernel and restart and run all the cells to be able to give us a dialog box. So it's able to load the data using these particular algorithms. Yours is just to change the extent of the area because, as you know, you are the one who has the domain. So mostly likely the dates I had in mind, there were maybe shortages of image. So from that, you can run all the cells. So I have to check also this one. So those small errors, it's good to note them. You save your work, then you run, start all the cells. It will give us some feedback. So at least you know that long is done. Then to be able to load, give us a dialog box. Then from the Sentinel-2, to be able to look for good policy, quality of pixels, at least 50% cloud-free. You can even have more, like 95. Then from that, you'll be able to see some good results that you can map out. So this one is trying to filter this much out of these images so you can see the opportunity of using big data like Digital Africa. So as that one runs, we go to the crop phenology. This one is here, optical data, uses Sentinel-2 data, and the crop mask built by Digital Africa and partners way back in 2019, but validation was done in year 2020. And here we're able to compute the vegetation index, NDVI, or enhanced vegetation index. So it's able to load the data like the other example and provide some statistics on the vegetation, and you're able to have a time series that you can compare. So this particular one running in vegetation index, NDVI, for a large long area. This is somewhere in Bating in Nigeria. So I have this example with our partner in Afrigis Ife, Nigeria, for example, and you can change it to any area. And it was able to run to give us these extents, and borrowing from the crop mask, we're able to do some some extraction. We can get vegetation index and actually see the plot of the vegetation over time, and even advise what has happened every 2 weeks or etc. So between a period of 1 or 2 years, we can actually see how the performance of the crop is very impactful. You see in the start of the season or at the peak or even end of a season, such as harvesting. Very key for analysis and empowering ourselves as agriculture and food security. So this also gives us some results, as you can see, the start of a season and end of a season. So that was specifically for a certain area in Bata, Nigeria, and cognizant of the rain season as well. So you can see harvesting time, etc., etc. And finally, the result will be something like this, which shows you the start of a season, the peak. So it can actually plot per year and give you some interesting statistics as well. This is quite impactful information, and it's at your disposal. So you had the Sentinel-2 data, which is optical from the European Space Agency, and we provide it in analysis-ready format. And as you can know, there are challenges of the cloud cover. So why not try it in Sentinel-1, which is cloud-free mosaics? So here in Sentinel-1, we compute something called radar vegetation index. And from this instance, we're able to get the script is actually pre-run for you. Yours is just to change the extents, as you can see. And this is the same area in he was certain location. And whenever you're not sure, you can always copy the extents and confirm where we are. Must be somewhere in Ethiopia. And you can be able to see the area of interest, for example, but you can change to any location. And Sentinel-2 data is gives you almost same results, and we compare with the cropland extent, and as we do various indices to get the radar vegetation index, and that's the particular formula, and you can see it is able to plot similarly to what we had for the other example. Quite a smooth curve and quite informative as well as previous script. So it shows us the impact of using different algorithms for certain areas. So for example, we could use the same extents of this area and put them on the other side and see if we'll get a similar graph just for our learning purposes, because comparison is key for any kind of work we do. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this one and replace the extents of this one so that it can run for this area. Then after that, you just restart and run all the cells. Then from that, we also have vegetation for condition anomalies, which we present monthly, and they are quite impactful. So we have it also on the sandbox. You can do it per country level. So you can also do it different dates, and it will give you some interesting results. So you can do within the 55 countries, Africa, and you'll be able to get some interesting results. For example, doing it as a country level. So this one is still running because it takes some time as well. So also that one I can show you here. You can look at vegetation conditions. We have the annual, we have the vegetation climatology, and also we have the monthly, which we'll show you in the other live session, which is coming after this one. So you can look at various examples. For example, this one. and it will show you the NDVI for every month, for example. So you can actually know how the situation is per month. So that is the same area I had. So once you zoom out, you can get at least a better idea. So you can see pretty much urban areas and the green areas. So you can change for each season. You can also go to the winter season. You can see the situation is a little bit different, etc., etc. So then that is the NDVI climatology, which will present the other live session coming after this one. So we also have the fractional cover, very good when want to know more information about the areas. So you can look at green areas and bare areas, very key in case you are looking at resource mining. It also uses Landsat data at 30 meters, but for the whole continent. So there's a lot in the program and the platform. Ours is just to show you every time that you can get much more information. So from that, at least that was an overview of some of the tools. And the last one before we no, we got something else was this one that if you had two images, you can actually get the image. So for example, I can go to an image of today, this week, for Lusaka, for example. And something else you can do is that you can get a difference of at least two images. So what you can do is that you can have it's an NDVI example, vegetation index, and you can have as an output, then you set different dates. So date B, you could say that one of this month, and the other date for date A, you can say maybe 2018 around the same month, and you can see some differences. So that one had some challenge with cover, so you can always change on the fly instead of going back. So this one will give you an example of how much has changed within the same area, and you can generate a product as a TIFF that you can actually use for your work elsewhere. So this is also some of the tools that you can take advantage of, and I can share again the link on the chat. And also you can do story maps, very impactful for kind of any analysis. And going back also to the sandbox, we can see this one is still computing, but the phenology radar that we changed was able to work for Batin, Tintin, and Nigeria. And the output, as you can see, some interesting curves, similar outputs, as you can see from the other graph. And finally, on the zonal statistics, an indication of crop health, you can see the curve is almost similar with the one on the optical. So this is trying to actually show you that complementary data sources can be used, and results, as you can see, they are fairly similar. So at least today we've gone through the crop health phenology. You've been able to see the optical, and you've been able to see the radar as well as an example. Same logic, loading the data and running the different algorithms. And finally, you can actually compare the radar and optical from the example we've seen, for example, a certain area. And then the forecasted vegetation is an ask which has been there. It goes up to goes to 2 months or 3 months. So this can be used in the various initiatives that we have in the continent. And it just uses an Cerimax model, and it can be able to predict the vegetation of the next few months ahead, maybe two months as of yet. And we've been trying to test it in different areas. Initially, it was designed by a colleague of ours who was doing his PhD in Zimbabwe. So some of the tools bring fit for purpose. Then we share the links to these tutorials every week, and even today's session is recorded. And this is just an example of how we used the vegetation phenology in supporting a trust, Northern Rangeland Trust in Kenya, helping them to get information about the conservancies, because these are nomadic communities. They move from land to land, and they need to know where there's enough pasture. Then the other example I had was the case of Ghana Forest Commission. where they were using the platform to map and assess productivity of various mango orchards. And this was a PhD by Benjamin Tongo. He was doing it in Australia, and he was just sharing some of the work that he's done. So everyone who's in this session, just know you're very important. You're able to present in the next session we'll have, so that you can tell us more about how you're using the Digital Africa platform. You can also present. We'll give you our contacts so that you can connect with us, and we continue this journey of the Africa we want as part of the African Union. So we have the training courses in English and French. We even have one on agriculture and food security. As you can see on this dashboard, land.digitalalafrica.org, and also this presentation will be shared with you. Is that these courses are free, and you get a free certificate of participation. For example, most of you in this call have registered for this course, and you received your certificate. And whether you have a challenge with the certificate, we can always connect so that we make sure you are connected with the right information. So, for example, when you finish a course like Introduction to Sandbox, the certificate will be there. For example, I completed this course, you'll be able to see your certificate. Then we also have the user guide, which is step by step as well, showing you how to use the resources. Then, of course, we have the YouTube channel on our website, where we have these sessions recorded, and these sessions, live sessions, and you can also get to present as well. And there are many ways to connect with us, including our website, our contacts, and also inviting you to the next sessions which will be coming. We'll be having one in French next week, and the other week we'll be having something on vegetation and animations, how you can animate some of the results of your work. And also Digital South Africa, very grateful to the partners who are here, especially Australian government, as well as our implementing partners from Agrimate to all. And these are our contacts as well. And I wish to pause for any intervention. Thank you so much for joining us. You are free to use the microphone in case you had any question. I'll also share the slides again in the chat. So I think everything was clear. Just thanking you all for joining us, and actually very happy to reconnect with people I've not seen in the last 5 years, especially Wallace from Ministry of Agriculture in Ghana. Wallace.
Yes, sir. Good morning and good afternoon to all.
Akwaba.
Yeah, yeah.
Welcome, my chief.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. We also have Trevor who had a question.
Hello, sir. Am I audible enough?
Yes, sir. Yes, chief.
Okay. I thank you so much. I've seen. Okay, it's my first time joining such a session for the Digital Art Africa. So I have a question. There's a certain project I was doing, and then I saw that you are into water resource mapping it actually. So I have a question. There is this challenge, and I'm asking, how do you go? For instance, a place like Taita Taveta County in Kenya, we have the seasonal rivers. So how do you approach maybe a challenge whereby you're trying to assess an impact of environmental impacts of mining activities on a water resource, and you find that specific water resource is seasonal. So how can you go about that, sir? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we were working with our partners to look at effects of land degradation. So, for example, with this one, we can just clear the screen and go to Taita Taveta and see the situation and just show you some of the tools you can use. Then also there are more specific notebooks that we were trying to develop with our partners, looking at land cover for country level and showing some hotspot areas. So this is still in development. But as this one loads as well, I'll be able to show you some of the data layers. So for example, from the services we have here, we can normally use the water observation from space. and fractional cover will give us some indication of, the degradation over time. So this one now, when you zoom into, is it next to Voi or next to your university?
It's around next to Voi. There's a certain river, for instance, flowing there.
Okay, because now from you we'll be able to learn much more. Because I know here we normally have drought and flash floods, for example.
Yes.
So we can look at all water over 20 years and we can see where we are able to capture that data. Then the data we've been working on was mostly the recent one on water bodies and see if it was able to capture some of them. This is more than, yes, it was an issue of internet challenge, but at least I'm able to get something in Mwatate, for example. Then what I can do, I can just put in the base map and see. So these are areas which are like swampy, and I believe these are large agricultural areas owned by settlers.
Yeah, I think so, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
And they never share. So we understand. So that is the water frequency. For example, this shows us small areas in blue have remained blue and the others red and green have been seasonal over time. So the other part is that you can look at how much it has been changing over time, for example. Then now with this one, you can move from year to year. You can see some changes. Sometimes we have water in these ponds. Sometimes you don't have. It's actually dry. Then also we can add our data for today's class and see what we can see from that region. So we have to, as in from your GIS basics, we choose probability of cropping. And you can see areas probable to cropping are actually yellow. And this one must be more of agricultural areas and rangelands. Then also when you move so this one should become below. So you can move them with your GIS skills so that this one comes below, the others come on top. We can see the change. Then I think later we'll be seeing how we can update these croplands per year to capture more information, for example. Then also we have the fractional cover, for example. Some parts of Southern Africa, whenever we have droughts, we can be able to see the effects of fractional cover. So this will be one of the tools you can use. And you can see some areas are bare soil. And you can play around with these ones and get areas which are bare soil lists or lowest non-green areas. For example, you can have areas which are green. So all of these areas is dry. So you can actually look at high bare soil because most of this soil is, bare soil. So there are many things you can do with this data, and also we have it on the sandbox. And what I can do is just share the link on this chat so that you can follow up later. So I wish to pause there unless there's another question.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you everybody for joining us in today's session. Just a special recognition of our partners who've made our work so far. We had Bako who had joined but he left. I have Fatou Sane from Center Suivi Ecologiste Senegal. Bonjour Fatou. And also we had other partners from different parts of the continent. And usually when we come to the end of the sessions, we normally have we can take a group photo. So these sessions are there every week. And also regards the attachment, we can only look at Regional Center for Mapping because this program is based in South Africa. Thank you, Trevor. So now we can take our group photo. Thanking you guys for joining us. The next session will be in French, the same with my colleague Joseph Tushimire based in Rwanda. And we'll be able to share also a recording of today's session so that we can continue to impact you with more knowledge. Thank you, colleagues.